Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the SU-122A. It's the Tier 5 Soviet SPG located on the north spawn of Ruinberg. This one is under the command of pumicka2. And I think you can notice that he's got two marks of excellence on the barrel of his gun. And that's the 152mm howitzer, which is actually the highest alpha damage of any tier 5 Arty. Yeah, it's got 550 alpha, this gun, so it's really capable, but it comes with a very high price because this Arty is incredibly slow, only 30 kilometers an hour maximum speed. It's got an incredibly long aim time, and it occasionally misses targets altogether, even if it's fully dialed in. And I suppose even worse than that, it's got a very long reload time. Standard reload 30 seconds, and well, pumicka's got 24.32, is it 0.82. So it takes forever to load, and even if you do load it fully, you may not hit the target. Well, T1 Heavy's been spotted. Now, he's only got 18 shells to play with as well, and that is a real game killer in a sense, because you have to make good use of your shells. It was even less before they actually did the adjustments. So, yes, in the past, you might have actually been limited in the number of tanks you could hit to just 12. That's all the number of shots you used to have, but they've increased the number. And his first shell didn't do anything. I think it hit the building. So now he's in reload. Now the SU-122 did actually exist. It was an SPG. It was a very cramped one. It looked very much like the SU-85. In fact, technically speaking, you could convert an SU-85 into an SU-122 just by fitting a 122mm howitzer. That's better. Got a nice solid hit on the Churchill 1. But Wargaming hasn't done that. What they've done instead is they've converted an SU-76 into the 122A. Yeah, apparently there were plans, but it wasn't actually built, never built. It's a fake tank. I mean, when I say plans, I think they looked at the prospect of doing it and then just effectively discarded it. Now that's a very narrow gap to fire down. I wouldn't fire at that because obviously chances are the shell's actually going to hit the building. But it did actually hit the ground near the target, so he might have actually splashed the target, got something out of it. Now, apparently, the reason that the SU-122 does not appear in the game, not the this is obviously the SU-122A, but the SU-122 does not really appear in the game as an Arty, mainly because it wasn't very successful during the war. The compartment was very cramped. It had a very big gun. Oh, tried to get that SU. Oh, and he splashed him. He did get something out of it. The splash radius on this shell is 6 meters or 6.7 meters. So it's big enough that it actually might do some damage even if the shell lands a short distance away. Yes, so it was a very cramped Arty, the SU-122, and wasn't successful, and effectively in the end they abandoned the idea. And in fact, actually, there was only a limited number of SU-122s actually made. In the end, Russia went with the SU-152 instead, based on the KV-2 hull. Not KV-2 hull, what am I saying? It's not the KV-2 hull, it's based on the KV hull. Because, of course, what they intended to have was a self-propelled gun. Not technically an Arty, but a bit of both. It's a bit of a TD as well as an Arty. Of course, as you know, the Soviets actually did use their tank destroyers or their self-propelled guns as artillery support. They just raised the elevated the gun and shot from a distance. Now, if you've ever seen the film White Tiger, I know that's pure fiction, but during the film you actually do see a whole line of self-propelled guns, mostly SU-152s, all lined up shooting with their guns elevated in the air. So they basically use the SPGs as indirect fire artillery support. In fact, the Soviets have always been big on artillery support. In fact, to this day, they still use a lot of Arty. Mostly tanks, but they still use a lot of Arty. Well, the game's going well because there's only 3 enemies left. pumicka2's still focusing on this KV-1. An enemy Arty was spotted. It was the Gorilla. He was taken out. So another feature of this Arty is that it does have the ability to shoot over the entire range of the battlefield, but it's also got a very narrow traverse. It's only 15 degrees in total. Good hit on the KV-1, and that means obviously that if you want to re-aim at a new target, you get big reticule bloom the moment you turn the vehicle, and that can take them ages to dial in. So that's it, that's the game over. Not a huge amount of damage, but it's acceptable for the SU-122A. Here's the end of battle results, and that was the 3rd mark of excellence game for pumicka2 in the SU-122A. I have a special affinity for this little Arty because it was the first one I ever marked. But to see somebody actually get their 3rd mark of excellence is brilliant, and congratulations to pumicka2. He also managed to get an ace tanker out of that game, despite the fact that he didn't do a huge amount of damage, but he did hit some enemy tanks, or blind hit some enemy tanks, and did enough damage to help his team win the game. Got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 8, and he got a Confederate because he hit more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. Let's have a look at team score and see where he was. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in the game. The T-34 did that with 1,551. He didn't get a high caliber though, because he didn't do 20% of the enemy hit pool. The second highest damage in the game went to the T-14 on the enemy team with 1,394. And the third highest damage went to the enemy Gorilla, who got 1,079 hit points. This is a slightly easier Arty to play than the SU-122A. And, well, pumicka got 4th place. So it wasn't a bad game for him. It was actually quite good. It's just, obviously, when he was hitting enemy tanks, he was getting a big chunk out of them every time. So, 1,048 in 4th. When it came to kills, though, unfortunately, he didn't get any at all, but that actually helped him to get the Confederate medal. And the top scorer was actually the Panzerkampfwagen 3 Ausrufung 5, who actually got 5 kills in that one. 3 kills went to the T-34 and also to the enemy Panzerkampfwagen 4 Ausrufung H. Is it 4? Yes, it is. No. Panzerkampfwagen 5 Ausrufung H. Yes, because it's 4, isn't it? Yes, anyway, that aside, trying to get my German right. 3 kills went to him, and when it came to XP, it's actually the 3 Ausrufung 4 who managed to get 851, and then the T-34 got 829, T1 Heavy got 694, and then we got pumicka with 663, and he beat anyone on the enemy team. 8 shots fired, only 8, but as I said, it's got a very long reload. 3 direct hits on the enemy, no penetrations, but 8 splash. Damage of 1,048 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. He damaged 7 of the enemy, killed none, but got 513 hit points of damage assistance and 739 hit points of stun assist of 7 stun, and I think that's what helped him to get the ace tanker. 25,236 credits from the game on a premium count, 18,927 on personal reserves, total of 56,781 credits altogether, and after resupply of ammunition and consumables took away a profit of 30,301 credits. 663 XP took away 995. So yeah, he says he's done, he's got his third mark, he doesn't need to prove anything anymore in the SU-122A. And I say yes, that's true, he has proved that he can handle this tank as a master. And yes, I'm sure that once people see that third mark, if he ever takes this out again, people will be suitably impressed. It's very difficult to mark this beast, mainly down to the fact that it's got such a long aim time and such a narrow traverse that it keeps blooming, and you're forever aiming at the enemy, and then by the time you're ready to shoot, somebody else on your team has killed the target, or the target's gone out of view and you have to re-aim all over again. So congratulations to pumicka2 for doing such a good job in the SU-122A. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.